Hello all. So today, now this is Om Prakash Yadav. Today I am going to start partial balancing of steam locomotive. स्टीम लोकोमोटिव का बैलेंसिंग आज हम लोग करेंगे, सीखेंगे। फिर हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे, लोकोमोटिव इंजन जो एक्चुअली होता है उसकी ये स्टडी करेंगे। So today topic is a partial balancing of steam engine, steam locomotive engine, which was used in the to drive the train, in the train engine. So this was used. So we are going to study this. Actually, our objective is to how to do the balancing, but I will see whole history that how this will come and how they are used to drive the train. Okay, this was used in old days. Nowadays this is not used, but this is our course, so we are studying this. Okay, so let us see first what is the steam engine and how this is used in train, or how they are used to drive it. Okay, so what was there, we are burning the first, we are burning the coal. What we are doing in the steam locomotive, we are burning the coal. Then by burning the coal, we are vaporizing the water, that is converting into the steam. That is, we are also using a boiler. So in the boiler, we are converting water into the superheated steam. Then that superheated steam is coming here. This is what the double acting steam engine. Double acting steam engine. This is the cylinder, this is the piston, and this is the piston rod. थोड़ा सा बता देते हैं इनके बारे में, फिर वर्किंग समझाते हैं. So this is the piston, this is the cylinder, this is the piston rod, this is the cross head, and then this is the connecting rod, this is crank. This is crank. So this is exactly what we have yesterday in a balancing of reciprocating IC engine. So also their balancing of this is exactly same, because this constitute one leg. So together this cross head piston rod and this piston will be taken as a reciprocating mass for balancing purpose. So that is the scenario, and all remaining thing is set. If you have done the partial balancing or complete balancing of the reciprocating IC engine, then in a similar function also you can do the balancing of this. Okay, now let us see the working. So by burning the coal in the boiler, by burning the coal, we are using a boiler. You are converting the water into the water vapor, that is a superheated steam, and this superheated steam is coming. Now this is the double acting steam engine. So there is a control valve, means that steam will go from here or from here. There is a mechanism which operates this. So when the steam will come from here, the piston will move here. When the piston will move here, this cross piston rod will move, the cross head will move, and the wheel will rotate in this direction. So that will happen for theta is equal to 0 to 180 degree. For this theta is equal to 0 to 180 degree, then what will happen? This valve will close and this valve will be open. The steam will enter from this side, so that will apply a force on the piston in this direction, and this piston will move from here to here. When the piston will move from here to here, this piston rod cross head will move from here to here. So this crank has moved from here to here for one stroke. So for another stroke, this will move from here to here. So one cycle will be completed. So that is the working of this steam engine which are used in locomotive. So how we are using this in locomotive actually? So in the locomotive, there is a furnace where we are burning the coal. Then that flue gases are used to in the boiler to convert the steam to water into the steam. That steam is coming here, and let us see that how this is used. So here is the axle of this locomotive. So on this axle there is a wheel. Actually this crank is a wheel in the locomotive. This total is the wheel. This is the wheel, and at one end the connecting rod is connected. So directly power is given to the wheel. So directly that power is coming and they are driving the wheel. That's why we are saying this as a driving wheel. So this will rotate, means the engine will move, means that will carry the train. That is the actual scenario. Okay. Now, so there are variety of the locomotive which are used. So first let us see that what is the classification. Before going to that, let us few seconds, let us discuss for their balancing. Already you have done their balancing. How to do the balancing? For what? For the reciprocating IC engine. So their balancing is also exactly similar. Exactly similar. So already I have discussed this. So that reciprocating masses can be assumed to be here. So this is a MREC. If this is MREC, then this unbalanced force can be assumed as the component of this centrifugal force mr omega square. So that will be mr omega square cos theta. That will be the unbalanced force. So how to balance that? Already I have discussed. So in the opposite direction, we are putting a balancing mass capital B at a small radius, a small b at a radius a small b. So centrifugal force will be capital BB omega square. So when I was doing the partial balancing, then I have got actually this is having the two component. One is along here and another will be along here. So this will be, if this is theta, this angle will be theta. If this is theta, so component of this along, this will be BB omega square cos theta, and here BB omega square sin theta. That will be the vertical unbalance, and this will be the horizontal unbalance, and also there will be the. So when we are going to find out the net unbalance along this already I have done. So I am not doing here. So when I was calculating, then I have got unbalanced force along this direction as 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta. So when I was doing the partial balancing of reciprocating IC engine, then I have got this is exactly similar. So 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta, this is the reciprocating part. So you can write MREC 1 minus C mr omega square cos theta. So that is for one. That is for one. Acha. Let us see that what I am doing for the locomotive. Before going to balance the locomotive, first let us see their classification. Then you will be able to understand each and everything. So first of all, let us see their classification. Their classification. Okay. So steam locomotive can be classified according to two way. So what is the first way? With respect to position of cylinder. And another classification is with respect to coupling rod. There is a coupling rod mechanism which are used or not used. So depending upon that can be classified. So with respect to the position of cylinder, this can be classified into two categories. First one is inside cylinder locomotive. Inside cylinder locomotive and outside cylinder locomotive. So with respect to the position of cylinder, that can be classified as inside cylinder locomotive and outside cylinder locomotive. I will see that what they are. Now with respect to the coupling rod, they can be also classified into two categories. So first one is that uncoupled locomotive and a coupled locomotive. Number two is coupled locomotive. So with respect to the coupling rod we are using or not, they can be classified as uncoupled locomotive and a coupled locomotive. Uncoupled locomotive and a coupled locomotive. Okay. So let us see one by one this all four. Let us see one by one this all. One by one this all. So first one is the inside cylinder locomotive. First one is inside cylinder locomotive. Inside cylinder locomotive. So this is the center line. Actually, this is the axle center line. So if this is the driving wheel, suppose this is the driving wheel. So just like wheel of the train. So this is the driving wheel. So this is what driving means, to which the power is given. This is the driving wheel. This is the driving wheel. And this is the axle. This is the axle. So on one axle there are two driving wheel. So this is the one drive wheel, and another is this is second one driving wheel. So the cylinder are placed inside the wheel or placed outside the wheel. So this is what inside cylinder locomotive. So cylinder are placed inside to the driving wheel, inside to the driving wheel. Inside to the driving wheel. So this is the cylinder number 1. This is the cylinder number 1, and this is the cylinder number 2. Why I am making one like that and another like that? Because the angle between the two cylinder is 90 degree. Angle between these two cylinder is 90 degree. So another cylinder is here. So this is cylinder number 2. So angle between the crank of these two cylinder is 90 degree. Why that angle is 90 degree? A reason behind that is the engine or locomotive can be started at any position of the crank. At any position of the crank, that engine can be started. That's why angle between the crank of these two cylinder are at 90 degree. Another benefit is that turning moment will be uniform. Turning moment will be uniform. That is the additional benefit. So in inside cylinder locomotive, cylinder is inside to the driving wheel. Inside to the driving wheel. Next is number 2, outside. Number 2 is outside cylinder locomotive. So what is happening in outside cylinder locomotive? This cylinder is outside the driving wheel. This cylinder, this is the cylinder 1. Now the cylinder 2 is also outside the driving wheel here. This is what the cylinder 2. So in outside cylinder locomotive, the cylinder of steam engine are outside the driving wheel. So that is known as the outside cylinder locomotive. Okay. Now another classification according to what coupling rod are used or not. So they are uncoupled locomotive and a coupled locomotive. Uncoupled locomotive and a coupled locomotive. So first one is uncoupled locomotive. Uncoupled locomotive, and another is coupled locomotive. Let us write here number 2. This is what coupled locomotive. Coupled locomotive. So let us see that what is uncoupled locomotive and what is coupled locomotive. So you can easily see it. You have seen that in the train engine or in bogie also, you can see a set of wheel at one places. Generally, 2 pair of wheel or 3 pair of wheel are there. Only generally in the engine, 2 2 to 3 pair of wheel are there. So there is a one axle, two wheel, another axle, then two wheel, then another axle, and there are the two wheel. Two wheel. So maybe a set of one pair or two pair or three pair or four pair. Also maybe four pair like in Rajdhani as so. Okay. Now, so there are a pair of wheel. Pair of wheel on this axle there are two, and on another axle there are two, on another axle there are two. So maybe two pair, three pair or four pair. So question is that you are giving power to all the cylinder, or you are giving power to only one cylinder and the other cylinder, that is the other wheel, are coupled. So what we are doing? So in uncoupled locomotive, at each wheel there is a cylinder, means at each axle, at each wheel power is given. At each wheel power is given means what? जितना यहाँ पे नंबर ऑफ व्हील होगा उतना सिलेंडर होगा, ज्यादा सिलेंडर होगा ज्यादा रेसिप्रोकेटिंग मास होगा, ज्यादा रेसिप्रोकेटिंग मास होगा तो ज्यादा बैलेंसिंग की भी प्रॉब्लम होगी, ज्यादा बैलेंसिंग की भी प्रॉब्लम होगी. सो जनरली दे आर नॉट प्रिफर्ड. So generally they are not used. This coupled, uncoupled locomotive are generally not used. So to solve the problem of balancing, generally they are made coupled locomotive. Generally they are made coupled locomotive. So what is the coupled locomotive? So suppose this is the driving wheel. Suppose this is the driving wheel and this wheel is getting the power. So cylinder is only at the driving wheel, and there is another set of wheel here and here. So two set of wheel, two set of wheel, two set of wheel. So power is given from the cylinder, from the engine only at one set of wheel. Here the power is given. So this is the driving wheel and the other wheel are connected. So this other wheel are connected to this wheel, means getting the power by this coupling rod mechanism, by the coupling rod mechanism. So they are coupled in that way. So just like that. So this is the driving wheel. This is the driving wheel. Why driving wheel? Because power is given to only this wheel, and other set of wheel is coupled by the coupling rod of locomotive. So by using a mechanism, power is given from here to here, means rotary to rotary, rotary to rotary. So what we are looking at in this uncoupled locomotive, this cylinder or engine is only at one wheel. They are only at one wheel, and there is no cylinder, there is no cylinder. So balancing, unbalanced mass or forces is only at this wheel, which are balanced, which can be easily balanced by the balancing mass in all this way. So that is very better. So from balancing point of view, this will be better to take the coupled locomotive. So generally coupled locomotive was used. Nowadays steam locomotive are not used, but this is our course, so we are studying this. Okay, you don't worry. Nowadays they are using the diesel locomotive and the electric locomotive. So in electric locomotive there is no problem. There is no reciprocating part, so no problem of balancing. So but for diesel you have to balance, because there are the reciprocating engine. So you have to balance that. Okay, so this is what coupled locomotive. So generally coupled locomotive was used because you can balance it easily. You can balance it. Their balancing is very beneficial. From that point of view, you are using now. So thanks for this, and now I will teach you the balancing. What is the effect of partial balancing? When we are doing the partial balancing of locomotive, why not doing the completely? You have seen for one reciprocating IC engine, so similar problem is here. So we cannot do the complete balancing of locomotive, so we will do the partial balancing. So partial balancing can be done easily in a similar fashion as you have done for the reciprocating IC engine. Now I will see for two-cylinder locomotive. I will do the partial balancing of two-cylinder locomotive, and I will see that what are the effect of that. What is the effect of that? What means what unbalanced force and a couple are arising for the complete locomotive which are using the two-cylinder. Means there are axle, there are two wheel, and each wheel is having two cylinder, one cylinder. One is here and one is here. So I will see for that in the next lecture. Thank you very much.